Hello and welcome out to another fantastic edition of the Successful Businesswomen podcast. I'm very excited today because I have a lovely woman in the studio. Her name is Paula C. Snyder. She is a vocalist, a musician, a writer, and public speaker. I'm sure I missed a few things, though. You have some experience under your belt.
Lots of experiences. And it depends on whatever time I had to pivot in my life where I figured out what to do.
Yes, and I've been hearing a lot of good things about you and Toastmasters. Tell us a little bit about what you've been doing. I believe you've created a program called Ignite Your Inner Genius.
Ignite Your Creative Genius. That is something that I believe everyone has a little bit of creative genius. A lot of times people are comparing themselves. Oh, I'm not creative. I'm not an artist. I'm not a singer. But it's not about being a star. It's about using your creativity to get yourself through roadblocks and life as it pivots and changes.
Oh, wow. That's incredible. So Paula actually loves to come out and speak on stage. You do corporate events. You could do small events, large events, or even you're actively involved a lot in philanthropy through your daughter's, it's a Facebook group, correct?
My daughter has a totally different entity that is an organization that's a nonprofit, but I do some volunteering through that nonprofit, and I also volunteer as I need to. I'm in Toastmasters. I'm going to volunteer with WELL, which is the Wade Education Learning Lab, which works with youth, and I've got a youth program coming up that I'm doing for them.
Well, that's pretty incredible. I also hear that you're doing some excellent work with seniors.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that. We love to help seniors here at the Successful Businesswomen.
Well, the seniors, it's really interesting. I've been a musician and singer for many, 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 many years, and I can say clearly it started in 1970 as far as for pay, but in the last 20 years, I've developed quite clientele in the senior and healthcare markets. They hire me in to sing and entertain their residents. And all these people have had lives before they got to that point. We used to go to the theater. They used to go to concerts. They used to go dancing with their spouses, and they don't have that anymore. And a lot of them can't get out. So I bring the entertainment to them. I also have some clients. I am not a licensed music therapist, but a lot of music is therapy. And I do have some clients that I have worked with, or even apartments that I've come in where there's a disabled person who just enjoys the music and has something to react to. The music itself, if someone is sick or in pain, it can calm blood pressure, it can slow breathing, it can ease pain. Yes, so there's a lot of therapeutic things to it, even though I'm doing it for the entertainment value.
Sure. We had a show that released featuring Dory Staley. Do you know her?
I know Dory.
And she did drum therapy in the studio. So that was pretty interesting. Definitely know that music can be very therapeutic. That's something I like to do all the time when I'm happy or when I'm sad.
Mm-hmm. And when you're in a bad mood, if you turn on the radio and start moving around and dancing, that lifts your mood too. Right?
My husband picks on me all the time because a song that comes on that is not necessarily happy words, but has a happy beat, I'm over there bobbing to it. And my husband's like, you do realize that's not a happy song.
Yeah.
I just don't hear that. I hear the beat and I get excited.
I listen to the lyrics. And when I used to do weddings, and I still do a few of them, I tell the brides, please look at the lyrics before you choose your song.
Yes.
I will tell you, everyone's favorite song in the elderly realm is You Are My Sunshine. And that is about a man who is bitter about losing his girl
Oh
to
my
someone
goodness.
else.
I had no idea.
Look at the lyrics of the verses that tell the story, you will understand. But a lot of, and I actually don't like that song too much. I prefer other kinds of songs, but if I have to sing it, I will do that.
Well, you have been a pro in the music industry for how long now?
Since 1970. I did take a break, but I was performing all over the country. I was an entertainment agent for a while and still performing in a lot of parties and corporate events and things like that. And then I took a little break to raise my daughter. And when I got back into it was because she was 16. She asked me to sing with her.
Oh,
And we put on a holiday program together. So every year we do try to get a mutual program in together. She's very busy with her own life, but she does still sing with me.
well, she is a wonderful soul. I have not had the opportunity to meet her personally, but her Facebook group is something special. She runs circles around me and has tons of volunteering opportunities there for not only for adults, but for children as well.
Right. So she has a website, which is her organization locally called Activate Good, activategood.org, which is her nonprofit, and she is the executive director of that. The Facebook, well, she has a Facebook group related to Activate Good, but she also has a Facebook group called Change the World or Bust.
Yes, that's it. That's it.
Change the World or Bust is an offshoot of her YouTube channel where she is giving tips to nonprofit leaders or people who want to change the world all over the world on her YouTube channel, which is a separate entity from her local organization.
Oh, well, speaking of activating good, you said you had been in the music industry as a pro for so long,
Yeah.
and the people do want to know, how did this passion ignite in you?
Well, my father used to play with us and sing with us. So by the time I was 3, our whole family harmonized together. My sister would sit in the back seat of the car when we were on long trips, and we try to sing 2 different things at the same time without blocking our ears to see if we could stay on key. My dad would entertain us. He'd say, pick 3 objects, and then he makes up stories and puts these objects in there, and he'd sing songs and he'd read signs backwards, and he was the life of the party. So as we were growing up, he'd take out the violin, then he took out the guitar, and he'd start singing along with the whole family. So I grew up with that joy of, this is something I love to do with my family.
Yes.
Right. But in college, I mean, I was in the high school groups and I was a good singer, but I wasn't recognized as a soloist. In college, and this is one of the starting points, I was invited to sing at a wedding from one of my co-students. And I went to the church to sing, and they were allowing popular music at the time. I sang at the ceremony, and after the ceremony, the priest came up and said, will you do more weddings? And he would call me almost every week and ask me to come sing weddings. So he kind of put me into business. But I was still trying to find myself. So I hitchhiked around country by myself in 1971.
Wow.
And I started writing my own music at the time. The song that was on the radio mostly in the cars was It's Too Late by Carole King. And that was hitting me really strong at the time, because the reason I took off was my boyfriend was being a jerk. And I took off, and I wanted to find the place where I needed to be. So I was traveling all over the country and hitchhiking and being crazy. I had my guitar and I started writing music then. When I came back, I got a little more organized about what I was going to do. And I actually started dating a guy who was in a band. And he said, if you put 40 songs together, you can go ask for business. So I did that. I put a set of 40 songs together, and I went to the local coffee shops and restaurants and bars and asked, if they were having music, would you hire me? And of course I asked, and they said yes. And that's how I eventually got to San Diego and ended up traveling all over the country, performing at that time. We did not have the internet. We did not have social media. We did not have GPSs. We did not have cell phones.
You had to whip out the road map and your highlighter.
You had to understand where you're going. We were booking ourselves. We had a manager for a while, you have to understand your own niche, because he would put us in disco rooms and we were easy listening. You don't want to be in the wrong place. You get a bad reputation.
Yeah.
So we started booking ourselves without all of the extras. So I got very good at calling people, talking to people, walking in and asking for business. And I still do that to this day, even though we have these other tools.
Sure. It's definitely a good skill set. I spent a decade at a company where all we did was cold call. There was hardly any
cold
other
calling.
tactics here. Was referrals and cold calls. And that's what you did. You did 40 doors a day. And I'm glad I'm not in that business anymore. Hashtag connections increase revenue. That's much easier than cold calling, folks.
But I love cold calling.
Yes.
I did door-to-door market research interviewing back in college. I sold Avon in college, and I can walk into a place and get someone into a conversation. And that's how you start.
Sure.
Doesn't have to be cold. I actually did a presentation with Toastmasters last night about that with their growth director in another district. It was about opening doors, and it had to do with cold calling and making that common. So there's a lot of subjects in mind when I speak, because it depends on what it is, but I do have a lot of experiences to share. So.
Sure. With your experiences in public speaking and connecting with people and music, I'm sure there's a lot of opportunities for you out there with your new program, Igniting Your Creative Genius, right?
Exactly.
Now, we breezed past an interesting topic there in your passion story, and I have to ask, please tell us one of your interesting stories on your hitchhiking journey, because if you were hitchhiking all over the country, I'm sure you have a few nuggets for us.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell the story as I might do it in a presentation. Imagine an empty road. This one was in Winnemucca, Nevada. And I'm sitting there with my army duffel bag, because the laundry bag I had been lugging around tore through. My guitar at dusk. Nobody else is on the road. I'm wondering if I'm going to get a ride out of here or get stuck in the desert and sleep with the critters. I took my guitar out, I was strumming to myself, making up little melodies and songs. And suddenly I see the headlights in the distance. Oh, maybe I got a ride. Now, there are some rules of the road in hitchhiking. You don't get in a car with a bunch of people. You don't get in the back seat. If you don't go, if they're turned around and going the other way, just to pick you up. This car pulls up in front of me, 4 rabble-rousing guys in this car. And it was the only car in sight. I had to make a choice. And I'll leave you there.
Oh,
you see, I'm here to tell the story.
Yes, ma'am.
So,
well, if you want to know more, you can definitely reach out to connect, and we'll give you that information here shortly. But I do want to touch briefly before we close out. I heard that you were writing a new book. Please do dish the tea on your new book.
Okay. The book is called Staying Inspired. And it's taken me a while to figure out my formula. How is it I keep going despite all the changes that occur? And I am getting older and I'm going to keep changing. But I've determined that there are a lot of mindset tools that we can use, or even directions. For instance, if we're facing a problem, sometimes we might just need to take one step forward, one step back, or even stand still. We might have to turn the thing around and look at it from a different angle. If you look at that microphone and you turn it upside down, it's going to look different from the upside. It's still a microphone, but that different angle might bring another idea or solution to us. So it's about using that creativity in our minds and finding ways to get, life is going to happen. Things are going to change. How do you live with that with joy? And it's all about that.
Well, we love joy here at the SBW. There's quite a few women who have branded themselves #joy. And we actually want to ask one more favor from you. The world does want to know And here you sing a little tune. I heard you were working on a new song.
I'm working on 10 new songs,
Woo.
actually. I'm in the studio and I'm hoping to release them later this year. 5 of them are for adults and 5 of them are for little kids.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, actually Grandma Paula is my alter ego. So I do entertain preschools, and I was doing one of those yesterday or the day before too.
You're so
It's crazy.
interesting.
You know, I found my niche and then I found a lot of other niches. There's a transferability of skills that
Sure.
goes with that.
It's a creative brand that you've built for yourself.
Exactly. I'm a creative entrepreneur.
I love it.
So
I love it. So if you would just share a little bit of your new song with us.
yeah, it's kind of interesting to do it a cappella, but I will try to give you the first few lines. You
Let's
don't even
go for
you'll
it.
be able to hear me.
Okay,
I'm pretty loud.
perfect.
When it's 4 a.m. and we can't close our eyes. When relationships fail us and make us cry. When life's not perfect, just what can we do? Look for the joy, find a new point of view. That's the beginning of the song. Oh, it's a really cool song, and it's a really good message.
I love that.
Because there are things to be joyful about
And
if we find them.
if you look for them, you'll
Yeah.
see them. But also if you look for the negative, you'll find that too. So it's about
Exactly.
shifting your
That's true.
mindset. Well, we would love to check out more of your videos on your YouTube channel. If we want to get in contact with you to book a keynote speaking engagement or something for a senior center to entertain, she's a writer, she's creative, she's a singer, a vocalist, a guitar player, and a piano player, soon to be author. How do we get in contact with you?
My website for everything, I have 8 web domains. So the
Okay.
best one is https:// PCSnyderCreativeOffices.com, and that'll get you everything I do.
Perfect.
Same
And
time, you might want to run that in print somewhere.
if
when
you didn't hear it and you need it, shout it out below. We'll make sure we get it for you guys.
Right.
And the YouTube channel.
I've got to, I'll have to link, I
You
have
put the
that
link in
linked.
Put the link in the bio.
Yeah, it's actually linked in my website. I have my
Oh,
social
perfect.
media linked too. Yeah.
Okay, great. So you can find everything in that website.
And I'm on Facebook with y'all.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I'm in your group.
She's been a member of the Successful Businesswoman for a very long time. We're very appreciative and very grateful to have you on the team. Ladies and gentlemen, we are super happy that you tuned into another fantastic episode of the Successful Businesswomen podcast. Make sure you tune in next week, where you never know what local business owner we'll have on just for you. Thanks for tuning in. We'll talk to you next week.